everybody, and welcome to my One Piece review for episode 891 for the introduction to the Wano arc beginning. You may notice I'm in a different location. That's because I'm on holiday, but I was going to miss this episode and not talk about it. And technically, we're not in Wano yet. That begins next week, and I was kind of intrigued how this episode will play out considering the content we got last week with Marco and Nekomamushi and that conversation that took place in chapter 909 and the second half of that chapter, well, we get next week. So what they did was very interesting and creative, and I think I kind of like it that way, considering we went into Wano in chapter 909 completely blind. It came out of left field. We was in the middle of the reverie, and I decided, you know what, switch it up. We need to get to Wano. So I think the order of events kind of makes sense given the fact what we get next week. But being said, this episode was pretty much Luffy, Nami, Chopper, Brook, Carrot, and Sanji making their way to the land of Wano Kuni and the struggles of even getting close to the borders. And we come to find out why that is. First off, I love the dynamics between the crew to start off the chapter, but then things just go awry by the end of the episode. So it starts off with Nami reading the newspaper about the reverie, and obviously Sanji is head over heels. Number one, you get to hear about Bibi. And the newspaper you immediately see is like when Nami's reading it, the outside is about Big Mom and Kaido, but we don't really get to find out what that is. So obviously the newspaper's got torn apart because of Sanji and Chopper. We don't get to see it. Nami didn't get to see it. So also, I'm pretty sure there's something about the reverie when it comes to Bibi. So it's kind of cool to see the Straw Hat's reactions to some of these characters that got reintroduced in the reverie, and now we get reintroduced to the. I guess number one, we do get a flashback to when we was in Zou. I guess the alliance formed to try and take down Kaido. So I have to say, last week when we got the conversation between Marco and Nekomamushi, when he said like I won't be able to get to Wano because I have to protect the land of Whitebeard because we know Weevil Whitebeard Jr. is decimating Whitebeard's crew. So obviously the village that Whitebeard's from, so that's why Marco's there. And I do have a question: is like where the hell's the rest of the crew? Like where's Diamond Jozu and company? You'd think we see the rest of the crew, right? So maybe they could show up, but I don't know, unless Weevil does show up at Wano. But that's a big if. The one thing I truly appreciated about this episode was the level of detail we got with the scenery, with like the treacherous weathers, like with the ocean, with the sunny, like the still shots we got was amazing. Like you saw the change in art style and animation, and just get the brief look at the borders of Wano for the first time is pretty cool. In fact, Nami notices immediately the winds get more ferocious, the waves get more treacherous around the waves, and then you get to see the skull of carp. It looks like a fish at one point, and then you see the octopus hop onto the sunny. Very instrumental because it does look like there's a skip at the end when they get into the whirlpool, and then you see Luffy in the water. There's a reason for that, and I'm pretty sure we'll get that clarified next week. I have to say is like you can definitely tell the change in art style and animation. It's not going to be anywhere close to what we get next week, but man, you can definitely tell the changes there, especially where the still shots we got of the sunny. It's weird how things play itself out, and actually we get a flashback to when Kinemon is talking to Nami about how to enter the land of Wano Kuni because hazardous weathers, it's hard to get there. So now we find out where that is. It's an isolated country. And it's obviously something abnormal about the water. In fact, Sanji notices immediately because he's like, "Oh, you can grill these fish because the way the water is like now is clear." And we couldn't find out it's not even the sea. It's kind of like a river that flows upstream. It's kind of like the knock upstream on top, but they're still not on Wano yet because there's a whirlpool, and then they get swept away, and that's how the episode ends. Well, I do love the dynamics because Luffy's gun ho about this entire thing until they get swept into the whirlpool. Chopper's like looking at the picture of the newspaper of Koreha, so that's official hype can begin next week. It's like I said, the rearrangement of the content of what we got in the manga added with what we got in this episode kind of threw me off a little bit, but I understand why that is now. Next week, we not only get the start of the Wano arc, we also get a brand new opening 23. I believe it's called Over the Top. It's performed by Hiroshi Kitadani, which, if you're not familiar with this artist, is pretty much, he sang the very first One Piece opening, We Are, and then later on he sang We Go, which was the opening to the time skip. So that's very instrumental. And then later on he sang We Can, which is opening 19, excuse me, which is very instrumental because that is pretty much the opening of the Zo arc, which was where the crew separated for Wano and Whole Cake Island in the first place. So.
Wait to see that. It's going to be good because when it comes to the visuals, and obviously the Wano arc officially begins next week with the return of Zoro, Usopp, Frankie, and Robin. So I can't wait for that, as well as the crash landing of Luffy on Wano. So if those are my thoughts, please tell me also in the comments. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.